Captain Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of the EFS Retribution, staring at the star map. 3 months had passed since anyone heard from the Kepler 440b colony. The last message was simple. Everything is fine here. Harvest looks good this year. Then nothing. "Sir, we're approaching the system," said Lisa Bennett from her station. She was the ship's tactical officer, young but smart. Her fingers moved quickly over the controls. Jake nodded. Ryan tried to contact the colony again. Ryan Torres, their communications officer, shook his head. "Still nothing, Captain. Radio silence for 93 days now." Something felt wrong. Jake had been in space for 20 years, and his gut never lied to him. The Kepler colony was home to 50,000 people. Families, children, farmers who just wanted to grow food and live peaceful lives. They wouldn't just stop talking. Act. "Clark, are you ready?" Jake asked. Dr. Amanda Clark looked up from her medical equipment. She was the ship's doctor, but also trained in forensics. If something bad happened down there, she would figure out what. "Ready as I can be, Captain." The Retribution moved closer to the planet. It looked normal from space. Blue oceans, green continents, white clouds. Just like the pictures from 3 months ago. "Getting some readings," Lisa said, frowning at her screen. "There are structures down there, but no power signatures, no life signs either." Jake felt his stomach drop. "No life signs at all?" "None, sir. The whole planet is dead quiet." They took a shuttle down to the main colony. New Haven was supposed to be a growing town with farms all around it. As they flew over the area, Jake saw buildings, roads, and vehicles. Everything looked normal from above, but when they landed, the silence hit them like a wall. Jake stepped out of the shuttle first, his weapon ready. The others followed close behind. The town looked perfect. Houses with little gardens, shops with signs still hanging, even children's toys scattered in yards. But there were no people anywhere. "This is creepy," Ryan whispered. They walked down the main street. Their footsteps echoed off the empty buildings. Jake pushed open the door to the general store. Shelves were still stocked with food and supplies. The cash register was open, with money still inside. "No signs of fighting," Lisa observed. "No broken windows, no damage at all." Dr. Clark was examining the ground with a small scanner, picking up organic traces. Lots of them, but they're all leading in the same direction. They followed the traces to the town square. What they found there made Jake's blood run cold. Hundreds of them, laid out in perfect rows like they were sleeping. Men, women, children, all arranged with military precision. Their clothes were clean, their faces peaceful, but they were all dead. Dr. Clark knelt beside the nearest body, a middle-aged man in farmer's clothes. She ran her scanner over him, then checked several others. "Jake," she said quietly, "these people were executed. Single shot to the back of the head. Very precise. Professional. All of them." Jake asked, though he already knew the answer. "Of them? Even the children?" Lisa was checking her scanner, reading the same pattern all over the colony. Every settlement, every farm, they're all like this. Jake walked among the bodies, his hands shaking with anger. These weren't soldiers or criminals. They were farmers, teachers, shopkeepers, people who had never hurt anyone. Captain Ryan called from across the square. "You need to see this." Jake walked over to where Ryan was standing. In the center of the square was a tall pole with something attached to it. As Jake got closer, he saw it was made of some kind of crystal, about 3 feet long and carved with strange symbols. "I've seen these before," Jake said. Briefings. It's a Zephyrian marker. The Zephyrian Collective was a group of alien species that controlled a large part of the galaxy. They had always been cold toward humans, but never openly hostile. Dr. Clark joined them. "Jake, I found something else. There are recording devices all over the colony. Whoever did this, they filmed everything. Can you access the recordings?" "Working." On it, she connected her equipment to one of the devices. After a few minutes, a holographic display appeared in the air. Jake wished he had never asked her to do it. The recording showed Zephyrian soldiers marching into the town square. The aliens were tall and thin, with gray skin and 4 arms. moved with mechanical precision. Behind them came the colonists, men, women, and children, all being forced at gunpoint. The aliens separated the families, parents on one side, children on the other. Then they started the executions, making the families watch each other die. The recordings captured every scream, every plea for mercy, every moment of terror. "Turn it off," Jake said, his voice barely a whisper. But Dr. Clark was studying the display with professional focus. "Jake, look at this. They're broadcasting these recordings, sending them out across Cephrian space." Broadcasting. This isn't just murder, it's entertainment for them. They're showing this to other aliens as some kind of show. Jake felt something break inside him. These monsters had killed 50,000 innocent people and turned it into entertainment. They had made families watch each other die for fun. "Keep searching," he ordered. Every building, every room, maybe someone survived. They spent hours. Going through the colony, every house told the same story. Families dragged from their homes, executed in the square, then their bodies arranged like trophies. The aliens had been thorough and methodical. Lisa found the school last. Jake didn't want to go inside, but he had to see. The children's bodies were arranged in their classroom, sitting at their desks like they were still learning. The teacher was at the front of the room, slumped over her desk. Jake turned away, fighting not to be sick. Captain Ryan's voice came over the radio. "Found someone. He's alive." Jake ran toward Ryan's location, an old maintenance building behind the power plant. Inside, they found a small boy, maybe 8 years old, hiding in a storage closet. He was dirty and scared, but alive. Dr. Clark checked him over while Jake knelt beside him. "What's your name, son?" "Danny Phillips," the boy whispered. "My mom told me to hide, said not to come out no matter what." "Where is your mom, Danny?" The boy started crying. "They took her to the square with everyone else. She told me to hide until the Earth ships came. She said someone would come looking for us." Jake put his hand on the boy's shoulder. "We're here now. You're safe." But even as he said it, Jake knew nobody was really safe anymore. The Zephyrians had sent a message with this massacre. They were telling humanity to stay out of their territory or face the same fate. Dr. Clark pulled Jake aside. "Everything. This wasn't random violence. It was planned, organized, systematic. They wanted to terrorize our entire species. Did they succeed?" Dr. Clark looked back at the boy, then at the town full of bodies. "That depends on how we respond." Helped Danny to his feet. "Come on, son. Let's go home." As they walked back to the shuttle, Jake made a silent promise to the dead colonists. The Zephyrians thought they had sent a message about human weakness. They were about to learn how wrong they were. The boy held Jake's hand as they lifted off. From the planet, below them, 50,000 graves waited for justice. Jake looked at the stars ahead and wondered if the aliens really understood what they had just started. War was coming to the galaxy, and humanity would show them what real monsters looked like. The emergency session of the United Earth Assembly had been going on for 6 hours. President Victoria Stone sat at the head of the table, watching the horrific footage from Kepler 4-4 to be for the 3rd time. Around her, the most powerful leaders on Earth argued about what to do next. "We need to be careful," said Secretary of Defense James Miller. "The Zephyrian Collective has 12 different alien species. They outnumber us 100 to 1. They murdered 50,000 civilians," Stone replied, her voice cold as ice, "including children. They filmed it for entertainment." General Patricia Adams leaned forward. "Madam President, I've been studying the recordings. This wasn't just a massacre. It was a message. They're telling us to stay out of their space, or they'll do it again." Stone looked around the table. Every face showed the same mix of anger and fear. Humanity had been expanding into space for 50 years, always. Trying to be peaceful, they traded with aliens, shared technology, and avoided conflicts. But the Zephyrians had just shown them how little that meant. "What are our options?" Stone asked. Admiral Charles Murphy, the head of Earth's space fleet, pulled up a holographic display. "We have 300 ships total, the Zephyrians have. Over 2,000, in a straight fight, we lose. So we surrender. asked Dr. Helen Carter, the Secretary of Science. No, Stone said firmly. We get smarter. She stood up and walked to the window. Outside, she could see the lights of New York City, millions of people going about their lives not knowing that aliens had just declared war on their entire species. Want to see all the military commanders? Stone said. And I want our best scientists. We're not going to fight them the way they expect. 2 hours later, Stone stood before a smaller group. Admiral Murphy was there, along with General Adams. Dr. Kevin Nash, Earth's top weapons designer, sat across. From Colonel Helen Ross, the head of military intelligence, "Show them the full recordings," Stone ordered. The holographic display filled with images from Kepler 442b. The Zephyrian soldiers moved like robots, efficient and emotionless. They separated families, lined up the colonists, and executed them one by one. The worst part was the cheering. Other aliens in the background were watching and celebrating each death. This is being broadcast across 12 different star systems, Colonel Ross explained. The Zephyrians are selling it as entertainment. Rich aliens are paying to watch humans die. Dr. Nash was staring at the display, his face pale. They made the parents watch their children die first. And then they arranged the bodies like trophies, General Adams added. This isn't just murder, it's psychological warfare. Stone turned. Off the display, and we'll give them some psychological warfare of our own. She walked to the front of the room. For 50 years, we've tried to be the good guys in space. We've been peaceful, diplomatic, fair. And what did it get us? 1,000 dead civilians and aliens laughing about it. Admiral Murphy nodded slowly. What are you proposing? We stop being the good guys. We become something they'll actually fear. Dr. Nash looked uncomfortable. Madam President, are you talking about targeting their civilians? I'm talking about sending a message they'll understand. They think we're weak because we're peaceful. They think we won't fight back because we care about innocent lives. They're about to learn how wrong they are. Stone activated another display, showing a map of Zephyrian space. Colonel Ross, what do we know about their society? Ross stood up. They're a collective of 12 species, but the Zephyrians are the leaders. They control the military and make the decisions. The other species mostly follow along because they're afraid. What about their homeworlds? Heavily defended, but they rely on terror tactics more than actual military strength. They've never fought anyone who could really fight back. Stone smiled, but it wasn't a friendly smile. Perfect. Dr. Nash, how long would it take to modify our weapons? What kind of modifications? Is a kind that would level a city in minutes instead of hours? Nash looked around the room nervously. I could have prototypes ready in a month. But, Madam President, if we start targeting civilians, we become just like them. No, Stone said firmly. We become worse than them. That's exactly what they need to see? She turned to Admiral Murphy. How many ships can you spare for a special mission? Depends on the mission. Deep reconnaissance. I want to know everything about their military positions, their civilian populations, their weaknesses. And I want to know which of their worlds would send the strongest message if it suddenly disappeared. Murphy was quiet for a moment. I know. Just the person for that job. Captain Morrison is already familiar with Zephyrian tactics. And after what he saw in Kepler 442b, he'll be motivated. Stone nodded. Send him. Give him whatever he needs. Dr. Nash was still looking worried. Madam President, once we cross this line, we can't go back. The galaxy will see us differently.
Good.
Stone replied, right now, they see us as victims. I want them to see us as something much more dangerous. The meeting continued for another hour, planning what would become known as Operation Nemesis. When it was over, Stone stood alone in the room looking at the star map. Colonel Ross approached her. Ma'am, are you sure about this? Helen, did you see the part of the recording where they made that little girl watch her parents die? Ma'am, she was about the same age as my granddaughter. Said yes, I'm very sure. 3 days later, Captain Jake Morrison received his new orders. He was sitting in his quarters on the Retribution, trying to help Danny Phillips adjust to life on a starship. The boy had nightmares every night, waking up screaming about the aliens. Jake, Danny said quietly, are you going to kill the bad aliens? Morrison looked at the boy. In 3 days, Danny had aged years. His eyes were older now, harder. The innocence was gone forever. Yes, Danny. We're going to make sure they never hurt anyone again. Good, the boy said, and went back to his drawing. He was always drawing now, usually pictures of the aliens dying in various horrible ways. Morrison's door chimed. Lisa Bennett entered, carrying a datapad. New orders from Earth, she said. We're being transferred to a new ship. Something called the F's Ghostwalker. Morrison read the orders. The Ghostwalker was a prototype stealth ship, designed for deep space reconnaissance. His mission was to penetrate Zephyrian space and gather intelligence on their military and civilian targets. When do we leave? He asked. Tomorrow? And Jake, there's something else. Dr. Nash is sending us some new weapons to test. Something called quantum destabilizers. Morrison had heard rumors about quantum weapons. They were supposed to be able to tear apart the molecular bonds that held matter together. A single bomb could turn a city into dust in seconds. How many civilians are we talking about? He asked. Lisa looked at her datapad. The target list includes 12 major population centers. Total population around 40 million. Morrison was quiet for a long moment. 40 million aliens. Men, women, children. Families just like the ones on Kepler 4 to be. Then he remembered the recordings, the cheering, the laughter. The aliens celebrating as human children died. Good, he said finally. Let's go show them what human entertainment looks like. The next day, Morrison and his crew transferred to the Ghostwalker. The ship was smaller than the Retribution, but packed with advanced technology. It could move through space almost invisible to enemy sensors as they prepared to leave Earth's solar system. Morrison received a final message from President Stone. Captain Morrison, you've seen what they're capable of. You've seen what they think of human life. I'm giving you complete authority to respond as you see fit. Show them that humanity isn't weak. Show them that we're something much worse than they ever imagined. Morrison deleted the message and turned to his crew. Ryan Torres was at the communication station, Lisa Bennett at Tactical, and Dr. Amanda Clark at the science station. Had all seen the massacre. They all knew what needed to be done. Set course for Zephyrian space, Morrison ordered. And Lisa, start charging the quantum destabilizers. The Ghostwalker disappeared into the darkness between stars, carrying with it humanity's promise of revenge. Behind them, Earth's military began the largest weapons production program in human history. The Zephyrian Collective had wanted to send a message about human weakness. Instead, they had awakened something far more dangerous than they could have imagined. War was coming to the galaxy, and humanity was about to teach everyone the difference between victims and predators. The F's Ghostwalker moved through space like a shadow. Captain Jake Morrison stood on the bridge, watching the stars through the view screen. They had been in Zephyrian space for 2 weeks, gathering information about alien worlds and military positions. Target acquired, Lisa Bennett announced from her station. Zarian Prime, just like the intelligence report said. Morrison looked at the planet on the display. Zarian Prime was a vacation world where rich aliens came to relax. Beautiful. Beaches, luxury hotels, and entertainment centers. According to their spy satellites, about 10 million aliens were currently visiting the planet. Any military installations? Morrison asked. None, Ryan Torres reported. Just civilians. Families on vacation, business conferences, that sort of thing. Dr. Amanda Clark looked up from her station. Jake, are we really going to do this? These aren't soldiers. Morrison turned to face her. Amanda, do you remember the school on Kepler 4 to be? Those weren't soldiers either. Clark was quiet for a moment. She had seen the children's bodies arranged at their desks, still holding their pencils. I remember. Ryan, open a channel to Admiral Murphy. The communication screen lit up with Admiral Murphy's face. Behind him, Morrison could see the bridge of the EFS Devastation, Earth's newest battleship. Morrison, what's your status? We've found the perfect target, sir. Zarian Prime. 10 million civilians, no military defenses. It's exactly what we need. To send our message? Murphy nodded. Are you ready to proceed? Yes, sir. We have the quantum destabilizers charged and ready. The planet will be gone in less than an hour. And do it. And Morrison, make sure the whole galaxy sees what happens. The communication ended. Morrison turned to his crew. Lisa, prepare the quantum destabilizers. Ryan, set up the galaxy-wide broadcast. Amanda, monitor the planet's life signs. Lisa's fingers moved over her controls. Weapons ready, Captain. All targeting systems locked on major population centers. Morrison walked to the center of the bridge. Through the view screen, he could see Zarian Prime spinning slowly in space. It looked peaceful, almost beautiful. Cities glowed like jewels on the night side, while the day side showed green forests and blue oceans. Sir Ryan said quietly, "Aye." Picking up civilian transmissions from the surface, children's voices, families talking, normal everyday stuff. Morrison felt a moment of doubt. Down on that planet, alien children were playing with their toys just like Danny Phillips had been. Playing before the massacre. Families were having dinner, watching entertainment, living their lives. Then he remembered the recordings from Kepler 4:4 to B. He remembered the cheering. Aliens as human children died. He remembered the bodies arranged like trophies in the town square. Fire, he ordered. The quantum destabilizers launched from the Ghostwalker. Invisible streams of energy that would tear apart the molecular bonds holding the planet together. Morrison watched the countdown on his screen. 60 seconds until impact. Ryan, start the broadcast. The communication system activated, sending Morrison's image to every alien communication network in the galaxy. His face appeared on screens. Across hundreds of worlds, in the homes of billions of alien families. My name is Captain Jake Morrison of the Earth Defense Force, he began. 3 months ago, the Zephyrian Collective murdered 50,000 human civilians on Kepler 4 for to be. They tortured families, executed children, and broadcast it as entertainment. On the screen, Zarian Prime continued spinning peacefully. 30 seconds to impact. The Zephyrians thought this would make humans afraid. They thought we would surrender and stay out of their territory. They were wrong. 15 seconds. This is our message to the Zephyrian Collective and anyone who supports them. You showed our children no mercy. We will show you none in return. 5 seconds. Remember this moment. Remember what happens when you target human civilians. The quantum destabilizer struck the planet's surface. For a few seconds, nothing seemed to happen, and the planet began to change. The cities went dark first, their lights flickering out one by one. The oceans started to turn black as the water molecules broke apart. My God, Amanda whispered, watching her instruments. The entire planetary structure is collapsing. The planet was literally coming apart at the molecular level. Mountains crumbled into dust. Oceans boiled away into nothing. The atmosphere itself began to dissolve. In less than 10 minutes, Zarian Prime went from a living world to a cloud of scattered atoms. 10 million aliens died in those 10 minutes. Not from explosions or fire, but from simply ceasing to exist as their bodies broke apart at the molecular level. Broadcast complete, Ryan reported. The signal reached every major alien civilization in the galaxy. Morrison looked at the empty space where Zarian Prime had been. A vacation world full of families was now just empty space and cosmic dust. Any regrets? Lisa asked quietly. Morrison thought about Danny Phillips, sleeping in his quarters with nightmares about dead children. He thought about the school on Kepler 4 for 2B, and the parents who died watching their children murdered for entertainment. None, he said finally. The response from the galaxy was immediate. Within hours, the Ghostwalker was picking up alien communications, filled with panic and outrage. The Zephyrian Collective's leader, High Chancellor Vexler, appeared on every network demanding human surrender. This is an act of terrorism, Vexler declared. Humans have violated every law of civilized warfare. We demand immediate surrender and the execution of all human military leaders. Morrison watched the alien leader's speech with amusement. Vexler was clearly terrified, despite his angry words. The Zephyrians had expected humans to negotiate or surrender after the Kepler massacre. They never expected retaliation. Ryan, any response from Earth? Sir, President Stone is making a statement. President Stone appeared on screen, standing in the Oval Office. Her face was calm, but her eyes were cold as ice. The Zephyrian Collective has demanded our surrender, she said. They claim we have violated the laws of warfare. This is our response. She held up a datapad showing the recordings from Kepler 44 to B. These are the laws of warfare, according to the Zephyrians. Torture, execution of children, murder as entertainment. We have simply chosen to follow their example. Stone looked directly into the camera, to the Zephyrian Collective and their allies. We offer you the same mercy you showed our colonists. None. This is only the beginning. Every day you continue this war, another of your worlds will disappear. Your choice is simple. Surrender completely, or watch your entire civilization turn to dust. The broadcast ended, and Morrison smiled. President Stone had just declared total war on the Zephyrian Collective. No negotiations, no prisoners, no mercy. New orders coming in, Lisa reported. We're to proceed to the next target. Morrison looked at the star map. The next target was Cathara, a Zephyrian manufacturing world with 30 million inhabitants. After that, Nexus 7, a trading hub with 50 million aliens from different species. How many worlds are on the target list? Amanda asked. All of them, Morrison replied. Every Zephyrian world, every military base, every colony. We're going to keep destroying their civilization until they surrender or go extinct. The Ghostwalker changed course, heading for the next target. Behind them, the space where Zarian Prime had been was already being avoided by alien ships. Word was spreading that humans had a weapon that could destroy entire planets. Over the next month, Morrison and his crew destroyed 12 more worlds. Each attack was broadcast galaxy-wide, showing alien civilizations exactly what happened to enemies of humanity. The message was clear: mess with human civilians, and your entire species would pay the price. The psychological effect was devastating. 3 species within the Zephyrian Collective withdrew from the Alliance, unwilling to face human retaliation. Alien traders began avoiding human space entirely, afraid of being caught in the crossfire, but the Zephyrians were not ready to surrender. High Chancellor Vexter began mobilizing every ship in their fleet for a massive attack on Earth's remaining colonies. He believed that if they could destroy more human worlds, they could force Earth to negotiate. He was about to learn just how wrong he was. Morrison received the intelligence report about the Zephyrian fleet movement while orbiting the ruins of their latest target. They're planning to hit all our colonies at once, Lisa reported. 2,000 ships, heading for Proxima Centauri, Wolf 359, and Tau Ceti. Morrison smiled grimly. Perfect. Admiral Murphy will be ready for them. The final battle was about to begin, and humanity was about to show the galaxy what real monsters looked like. Admiral Charles Murphy stood on the bridge of the EFS Devastation. Watching 2,000 enemy ships approach the Proxima Centauri system, the Zephyrian Collective had sent their entire fleet to attack Earth's colonies, hoping to force humanity into surrender. They had no idea they were flying into a trap. All ships report ready, said Commander Tony Rivera from the communication station. Rivera commanded the destroyer group that would hit the enemy flanks once the battle started. Murphy smiled coldly. Zephyrians thought they were attacking defenseless colonies. Instead, they were about to face the entire Earth defense fleet, hidden behind the system's outer planets and ready for battle. Sir, enemy fleet is entering weapons range, reported his tactical officer. Not yet, Murphy said calmly. Let them get closer to the planet. I want them to think they're winning. On Proxima Centauri 4, General Patricia Adams watched the enemy ships through her command bunker's view screen. The Zephyrian landing force was already heading for the surface, confident that their surprise attack would succeed. General, should we evacuate the civilians? Asked her aide. Adams shook her head. The civilians were evacuated 3 weeks ago. Those buildings down there are empty except for our soldiers. The Zephyrians had planned to massacre another human colony, just like they did on Kepler 44 to be. Instead, it would find 10,000 human Marines waiting for them with the newest weapons Earth could build. Let them land, Adams ordered. Then we'll show them what a real massacre looks like. Back in space, the Zephyrian fleet was moving into position around the planet. Their commander, Fleet Marshal Kextar, was broadcasting demands for immediate surrender. Humans of Proxima 4, his voice echoed across all frequencies. You have 1 hour to surrender completely. If you resist, we will execute every man, woman, and child on your planet. This is the price for your species' terrorism. Murphy laughed. Ryan, open a channel to the enemy fleet. The communication screen lit up with Fleet Marshal Kextar's face. The alien was tall and gray, with 4 arms and black eyes that showed no emotion. This is Admiral Murphy of the Earth Defense Fleet. You are surrounded and outnumbered. Surrender now, and you will be granted a quick death. Kextar's expression changed from confidence to confusion. Impossible. Our intelligence shows only civilian. Colonies in this system. Your intelligence was wrong, Murphy replied. But don't worry. You'll have plenty of time to think about that mistake. Murphy cut the communication and turned to his crew. All ships attack pattern Delta. Target their command vessels first. The space around Proxima Centauri exploded into battle. 300. Human ships emerged from hiding behind planets and asteroids, surrounding the Zephyrian fleet. The aliens had been expecting an easy victory against defenseless colonists. Instead, they found themselves trapped in a carefully planned ambush. Captain Jake Morrison, now commanding the new destroyer, EFS Retribution 2, led the first attack wave. His ship was equipped with the latest quantum weapons, designed specifically to kill alien crews while leaving their ships intact. Target their flagship, Morrison ordered Lisa Bennett, who had been promoted to his weapons officer. Quantum torpedoes locked and ready, Lisa replied. Fire. The quantum torpedoes struck the Zephyrian flagship's hull and passed right through the armor without damaging it. But inside the ship, every living thing began to die as the quantum energy tore apart their nervous systems. Enemy flagship going dark, reported Ryan Torres from the communications station. No life signs remaining. Morrison watched as the massive alien ship drifted helplessly through space, its crew dead, but the vessel itself undamaged. That was the beauty of the quantum weapons. They left the ships intact for humans to capture and study later. Next target, Morrison ordered. Across the battlefield, human ships were systematically destroying the Zephyrian fleet. The aliens fought back desperately, but their weapons were designed to terrorize civilians, not fight trained soldiers with advanced technology. Commander Rivera's destroyer group hit the enemy flanks, using nanoscale weapons that Dr. Nash had designed specifically for Zephyrian biology. The microscopic machines entered alien ships through their ventilation systems and began shutting down Zephyrian nervous systems from the inside. Rivera to all ships. His voice came over the communication system. I'm seeing whole enemy crews just collapsing at their stations. These nanoweapons are incredibly effective. On the planet's surface, General Adams was having her own battle. The Zephyrian landing force had come expecting to find frightened colonists. Instead, they found human Marines equipped with weapons that could punch through alien armor like paper. Sir, the aliens are trying to retreat to their landing ships, reported Sergeant Billy Cooper, Adams' demolitions expert. Don't let them, Adams ordered. I want every alien on this planet dead before the day is over. The battle on the surface was brutal, but one-sided. Human soldiers moved through the landing zone like professional exterminators, hunting down every alien soldier with cold efficiency. The Zephyrians tried to surrender, but Adams had given clear orders. No prisoners, no mercy, no survivors. Sniper. Maria Santos positioned herself on a hilltop overlooking the main landing area. Through her scope, she watched alien soldiers running in panic as human forces closed in from all sides. This is too easy, she reported to Adams. These aliens have never fought anyone who could fight back. Good, Adams replied. Make sure they understand what real soldiers look like. Santos began picking off enemy officers, one shot at a time. Each kill was precise and professional. The Zephyrian soldiers had terrorized human civilians for entertainment. Now they were learning what it felt like to be hunted by someone better than them. In space, the battle was nearly over. Morrison's ship destroyed the last enemy cruiser with quantum torpedoes. watching as the alien crew died in seconds while their ship remained intact. Enemy fleet eliminated, Admiral Murphy announced to all human forces. Total enemy casualties, approximately 40,000. Human casualties, 0. The Proxima Centauri system was now a graveyard of alien ships, their crews dead but their vessels floating intact. Human salvage teams were already moving in to capture the ships and study their technology. But Murphy wasn't finished. He opened a galaxy-wide communication channel, broadcasting to every alien civilization in known space. This is Admiral Murphy of the Earth Defense Fleet. The Zephyrian Collective sent 2,000 ships to massacre human civilians. Every ship has been destroyed. Every alien aboard is dead. This is what happens when you attack human colonies. The broadcast showed images of the destroyed alien fleet, thousands of ships drifting dead in space. Then it showed footage from the planet, where General Adams' forces were piling up alien bodies like cordwood. The Zephyrian Collective wanted to send us a message about human weakness, Murphy continued. This is our reply. We are not weak. We are not defenseless. And we do not forgive. The psychological impact across the galaxy was immediate. 3 more species within the Zephyrian Collective announced they were withdrawing from the Alliance. Alien traders began avoiding any system where humans might be present. Some civilizations started offering tribute to Earth, hoping to avoid becoming targets. But the real impact was on the Zephyrians themselves. High Chancellor Vexter had lost his entire fleet in a single battle. Worse, the recordings of the battle were being broadcast across Zephyrian space. Showing their military being slaughtered like animals, Morrison received new intelligence reports. As his ship headed back to Earth, the Zephyrian homeworlds are in complete chaos, Ryan Torres reported. Mass riots, government officials fleeing, some cities declaring independence from the Collective. What about their military? Morrison asked. What's left of it is pulling back to defend the core worlds. They're abandoning their outer colonies and concentrating everything around their home system. Dr. Amanda Clark looked up from her medical station. Jake, I'm getting reports of mass suicides on Zephyrian worlds. Apparently many aliens would rather die than face capture by humans. Morrison nodded. Psychological warfare was working perfectly. The Zephyrians had spent so long terrorizing others that they had no idea how to handle being terrified themselves. New orders from Earth, Lisa announced. We're being reassigned to the final assault force. Morrison read the orders on his screen. Earth was preparing for the ultimate attack on the Zephyrian homeworld of Zeftai. 40 billion aliens lived on that planet. The entire core population of the Zephyrian species. President Stone's orders were simple. Complete extermination. Not a single Zephyrian was to survive. How long until we reach the target? Morrison asked. 2 weeks, Ryan replied. Morrison looked out at the stars ahead. In 2 weeks, the Zephyrian species would cease to exist. Their entire civilization would be wiped out, just like they had tried to do to humanity. The boy Danny Phillips appeared on the bridge, as he often did during quiet moments. He was drawing again, always drawing pictures of aliens dying in horrible ways. Jake, Danny said quietly, are we going to kill all the bad aliens? Morrison knelt down beside the boy. Yes, Danny, all of them. Danny smiled, the first real smile Morrison had seen from him since the massacre. Good. Then my mom and dad can rest. Morrison stood up and looked at his crew. The Earth Defense Fleet assembled at the edge of the Zeftai system like vultures gathering around a dying animal. 200 human ships formed a massive wall of steel and weapons, all pointed at the Zephyrian homeworld that glowed like a blue jewel in the darkness. Admiral Charles Murphy stood on the bridge of the F's devastation, studying the planet that held 40 billion aliens. It was beautiful from space, with green continents and white clouds swirling around massive cities that sparkled with lights. Final intelligence report, Commander Tony Rivera announced. The planet has minimal orbital defenses. Most of their fleet was destroyed at Proxima Centauri. Captain Jake Morrison's voice came over the communication system from his ship, the EFS Retribution 2. Admiral, we're picking up massive evacuation attempts. Civilian ships trying to escape the system. Destroy them all, Murphy ordered, without hesitation. No one leaves this system alive. Human fighters swept through space, hunting down every escape pod and civilian transport. The quantum weapons made it quick and clean. Ships simply went dark as their crews died instantly, then drifted empty through space. On Zeftai, Chancellor Vexter sat in his command center deep underground, watching his civilization die on the screens around him. His advisors had all fled or killed themselves. The great Zephyrian empire that had terrorized the galaxy for centuries was about to end. "Sir," his communications officer said quietly, "the humans are broadcasting a message." President Victoria Stone's face appeared on every screen across the planet. Her voice was calm and cold as ice. "People of Zeftai, this is President Stone of Earth. 1 year ago, your species murdered 50,000 human civilians on Kepler 4-4b. You tortured families. You executed children. You turned it into entertainment for your amusement." Stone paused, letting her words sink in across 40 billion alien minds. "Today your species ends. In exactly 17 minutes, this planet will be destroyed completely. That is the same amount of time our colonists had to watch their families die. We want you to understand what they felt." The broadcast showed images from Kepler for Sev to be alien families across. Zeftai watched human children being executed while their parents screamed. Many aliens had seen these recordings before as entertainment. Now they watched them as their own death sentence. "You thought humans were weak because we valued peace," Stone continued. "You thought we would not fight back because we cared about innocent lives. You were wrong on both counts." Morrison watched the planet through his view screen as panic spread across its surface. Cities went dark as power grids failed. Massive crowds filled the streets, some rioting, others just standing and waiting for death. "Jake," came Dr. Amanda Clark's voice from the medical station. "I'm monitoring alien communications. They're begging for mercy, offering complete surrender, reparations, anything we want." Morrison remembered the recordings from Kepler 4-4b. The human colonists had begged for mercy too. It offered to leave the planet, to give the aliens anything they wanted. The Zephyrians had laughed and kept killing. No mercy. Morrison said simply. Dr. Kevin Nash's voice came over the fleet communication system from the weapons platform EFS Annihilator. "Planetary quantum destabilizer is fully charged and ready. This weapon will destroy the planet's core structure completely." Admiral Murphy looked at the countdown on his screen. 15 minutes until firing. "Dr. Nash, this weapon is more powerful than anything we've used before. Are you certain it will work?" "Yes, sir." "The planet will be torn apart at the subatomic level. Nothing will survive, not even bacteria." Murphy nodded. "Proceed with the final phase." On Zeftai, aliens filled the communication networks with desperate messages. Some were directed at the human fleet, begging for their children to be spared. Others were messages to family members on other worlds, saying goodbye. "Hi, Chancellor." Vexter finally found the courage to broadcast one last message to the galaxy. "I am Vexter, last leader of the Zephyrian Collective. We accept full responsibility for the massacre on Kepler 4-4b. We surrender completely and unconditionally. Please show mercy to our civilians who had nothing to do with the attack." Stone's reply was immediate and broadcast to every world in the galaxy. "You showed our civilians no mercy. You made our children watch their parents die for your entertainment. This is justice, not murder. Let every species in the galaxy remember this moment. This is what happens when you target human families." Morrison walked to the center of his bridge, where young Danny Phillips was sitting with his drawings. The boy had grown taller in the past year, but his eyes still held the same cold anger from the day they found him hiding on Kepler 4-4b. "Danny," Morrison said gently, "it's almost over." Danny looked up at him with those old, hard eyes. "Will the bad aliens never hurt anyone again?" "Never again," Morrison promised. 5 minutes to firing. On Zeftai, 40 billion aliens waited for death. Some prayed to their gods, others held their families close. Many just stood and stared at the sky, knowing that human ships were up there preparing to end their world, in cities across the planet. Monuments to Zephyrian military victories were being torn down by angry mobs. The aliens finally understood that their empire had been built on terrorizing weaker species.
Now they faced someone stronger.
And the terror was all theirs. 2 minutes, Dr. Nash announced. Admiral Murphy opened one final communication to the planet below. This is Admiral Murphy of the Earth Defense Fleet. For centuries, your species has survived by making others afraid of you. You've conquered the weak, tortured the helpless, and called it strength. Today you'll learn what real strength looks like. He paused, watching the planet turn slowly in space. Humanity does not forget. Humanity does not forgive. And humanity never shows mercy to those who target our children? 30 seconds, Nash reported. Morrison put his hand on Danny's shoulder. The boy was drawing one final picture, Earth rising like a sun over a field of alien graves. 10 seconds. Morrison looked at his crew. Lisa Bennett at Tactical, her face hard with determination. Ryan Torres at Communications, ready to broadcast humanity's final message. Dr. Clark at her station, documenting everything for history. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, firing. The quantum destabilizer fired from the weapons platform, an invisible beam that struck Zeftai at the speed of light. For a moment, nothing seemed to happen. The planet continued turning peacefully in space. Then it began to die. The destruction started at the core and worked outward. The planet's structure began collapsing as molecular bonds broke apart. Mountains crumbled into dust. Oceans boiled away into nothing. The atmosphere itself began to dissolve. 40 billion Zephyrians died in exactly 17 minutes. At the same time, the Kepler-4 to be colonists had to watch their families murdered. When it was over, there was nothing left but empty space and cosmic dust. The Zephyrian homeworld, the center of their civilization for thousands of years, had simply ceased to exist. Morrison opened a galaxy-wide broadcast, his image appearing on screens across hundreds of worlds. The Zephyrian species is extinct. Their homeworld is gone. Their empire is finished. This is humanity's message to the galaxy. Leave our people alone, or share their fate. The broadcast ended, and Morrison looked out at the empty space where Zeftai had been. Justice was done, but it felt hollow. 50,000 humans were still dead. Danny Phillips was still an orphan. The galaxy was a safer place, but the cost had been enormous. 1 year later, Morrison stood in the Memorial Garden on New Kepler, the rebuilt colony world. Danny, now 9 years old, placed flowers at the monument listing all 50,000 victims of the massacre. "Do you think they can see us, Jake?" Danny asked. Morrison looked at the names carved in stone, including Danny's parents. "I think they can rest now?" The galaxy had indeed changed. Trade agreements heavily favored human worlds. Alien species went out of their way to avoid conflicts with Earth. No one wanted to be the next species to face human justice, but Morrison knew the real change was in humanity itself. They were no longer the peaceful explorers who had first reached for the stars. They had become something harder, colder, more dangerous. The Zephyrians had wanted to send a message about human weakness. Instead, they had taught the galaxy a different lesson entirely. Humanity's mercy was not weakness, and once lost, could never be earned back. The stars belonged to humans now, and everyone else just lived there by permission.